Dajani, and I will be your moderator for today, joined by Huzaifa and Rami. As mentioned, Huzaifa is the founder and CEO of InSync Shop Fittings. It's a partner strategic alliances at Safe Group. So InSync transforms shops into smart ones by seamlessly integrating the efficiency of digital technology into physical spaces, using their proprietary smart shop fitting solutions built around their electrified tracks and merchandise supports. They have operations in India, the UAE, and the USA, and they export across the Middle East and Africa. On the other hand, we have Rami Zahran, Group Chief Marketing and Communication Officer at Saudi German Health. It's a corporate entity which has various assets, including, to name a few, hospitals, clinics, pharmacies, and an academy. Welcome, gentlemen, and thank you once again to our viewers for attending this session with us. 2020 has been a very interesting year. To some, they call it the COVID year or the pandemic year. Myself, I call it the customer year, because so many things have changed since 2020 to date in the way customers behave, in the loyalty of customers towards brands and organizations, with regards to the wants and needs of customers. And they put a lot of pressure and challenge on organizations to reinvent themselves. So what we say is transform or die, or be future ready as well. Again, as I mentioned, my name is Hussein Dajani, and I'm the General Manager of Digital and Customer Experience Transformation at Nissan Motor Corporation for the region around Africa, Middle East, India, Turkey, and Oceania. And the automotive industry, as you know, has been hugely disrupted due to the pandemic that took place. You see, it started as customers were scared of going to the showrooms because of fear of COVID. So we are not an NGO at the end of the day. We need to ensure revenues. Customers, on the other hand, as well, were scared of taking their vehicles for service maintenance because of fear. And this put a lot of challenges on us, turn things around. If customers are not willing to come to us, how do we come to them? According to their own times and according to their own availabilities. So we created a customer promise differentiator called Shop at Home with Nissan. We launched this in each one of the AMIO markets. And basically, it's a suite of solutions, a kind of an umbrella, which includes solutions and products and services tailored toward existing Nissan customers or potential ones. So if you couldn't go to the showroom, we brought the showroom to you. So we enabled a 360 showroom and vehicles walkthrough. You wanted to speak to a sales consultant, just through a click of a button, you will be able to have a video call with a sales consultant. You want to do a test drive of the vehicle but don't want to go to the showroom, not a problem. We'll bring a car to you at a date and time that is convenience to you, and you will do the test drive of the vehicle. You like the vehicle, you want to buy it, we enabled e-commerce online where you can either book the vehicle or buy it completely online. You want to take your car for service maintenance and you don't want to go to the service shop, we will come, pick up your vehicle, do service maintenance to it, and bring it back. Those are just to name a few of the solutions that we've enabled. So if you go to any of Nissan's websites in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Saudi, South Africa, India, Australia, you will find Shop at Home proposition over there. And what led us to really show empathy towards customers, where we expressed how much we understand their wants, their needs, their fears, their aspirations. This is how we showed them that we are dealing at the end of the day with a human. We're not dealing with a customer. Because at the end of the day, we call it the human experience rather than the customer experience. So this is what we did at Nissan to tackle the COVID challenge. And the journey is still ongoing. I would like to move to our panelists to understand a little bit more on what they've done in their industries in order to basically retain customers, show their understanding with customers, express the compassion towards customers. Rami, I will start with you. A strong brand and a powerful campaign can only take you so far. I think you agree with me about that. What I'm interested in knowing is, what role do you think customer experience has within the context of the three R's in differentiating your organization from competition?
Yes, so thank you for that question, Hussein, and thank you for your intro. Very inspiring what you guys did during the pandemic, and I think it goes without saying that I'm sure it was not easy, and so great job on you guys for getting there. Customer experience for me, what role does it play in differentiating a brand from another brand? For me, customer experience is king. Absolutely. Back in the day, let's say 20 years ago, you could easily get away with a really big, flashy marketing campaign. You could, create this sort of sense of desire for a brand or a product, and people would rush to stores to buy it. And in a way as well, people would kind of love the product because of the great marketing and the great branding, without necessarily paying attention to if it was if it was performing the way they wanted it to perform, product or service. Nowadays, if we look at products or services, these products or services are being discussed more openly amongst their consumer base. So if somebody buys a product off Amazon, for example, that leaves room for reviews. So let's say what I used to be able to sell 20 years ago under great brand marketing now is exposed to all these people who will take that product, analyze it, review it, and come back and say this product is actually terrible. So people will look towards those reviews more than great flashy advertising and branding. If a product has a 5-star rating, I'm more likely to buy it, and obviously I'll second guess one and a half. This didn't exist 20 years ago, right? So where can you, now that there's a world of reviews, this concept of retaining customers, where does customer experience play a role? It plays a role in that once you've offered a really good end-to-end customer experience, you're more likely to produce positive reviews. You're more likely to retain someone, even if your product or your service was not the best, or compared to its competitors, or compared to what your expectation was. If you receive great customer service along the journey, you're more likely to remain loyal and come back, especially if there's some form of loyalty program or incentive for you to come back from a retaining perspective. You're more likely to leave a positive review if the customer experience was good, even though, again, maybe the product or the service itself wasn't great, but the customer experience was great. You leave satisfied, so you're more likely to leave with a positive review. So from the third R about reimagining, what I ask everyone to do is to reimagine themselves, not just as a marketer who fulfills one of the P's of the 7 P's of marketing, which is promotion, which is great advertising, but to also really think about the customer experience. As a marketer, you should not leave it to somebody else. You should have a direct hands-on influence in the customer experience. So reimagine your role and make sure you're offering great customer experiences, because for me, that nowadays is more important than great branding.
Absolutely. This is spot on, Rami. I was reading this morning. It just happened that a report popped up in front of me. It's a report done by Google and Boston Consulting Group, which mentions that due to the pandemic, 65% of customers lost loyalty with brands, which tells you that customer experience has become key. And as you rightly mentioned, at the heart of the customer experience is the customer service, because people or consumers expect full transparency, expect to be kept outdated, and more important, with the role of data, expect to have a personalized attention or a personalized service, which we see many organizations trying to basically cope up with the changes that are happening. Let's admit it, the world of digital has accelerated 10 times due to the pandemic rather than usual days. and organizations are still trying to figure out how to navigate around all those changes that are taking place over there. So what you mentioned is absolutely correct. Advertising and branding is important, but advertising and branding alone will not be able to create that differentiator aspect to your organization like it used to 10 years ago. Thank you for that. I would like to hear from Huzaifa. Huzaifa, you are more or less, I don't want to say agency, but you are more of like partner to so many clients. So you work with so many retail brands from across different sectors. How do you see yourself, the role of physical spaces in reimagining their positioning to retaining existing customers? This is something very interesting, especially I mentioned physical spaces, especially that with COVID, physical spaces became a very big challenge to people.
Yeah, you're completely correct. It has been a challenge, and I think it's not been a challenge just because of COVID. Let's get that. Let's go back a few years and see what happened when Amazon popped in. Right, all these years for decades, it's always been an evolution of space, from supermarkets to hypermarkets to malls to small stores or specialty stores. The format of retail changed, but within the physical space. The moment you started getting e-commerce, the role of the physical space started changing, expectations of the consumer started changing. COVID just accelerated that growth, and I think it also created an opportunity and gave retailers some time to reimagine their role. I think now a retail space, there is a change of the role of that retail space from becoming just a platform for commerce or transaction to becoming what I call a platform for edutainment. That is, where customers can learn about the product, they can buy it, and they can do it in a fun environment. There has to be a matter of fun in it. Like if you've seen what Clifton Strengths always talks about, it's about working on your strengths, strengthening what works for retail. I think the most important element of any retail store is the fact that there's a physical interaction between a person and a product. There's a physical interaction between a person and a person. And now the human to human interaction. How do we make that better? 40% of research subjects in a Price Waterhouse research talked about a better in-store customer experience being experienced, in a sense, if the store staff had better product knowledge. If they were able to see an extended range of products, whether online or another store, easily, that was a better experience, according to about 37% of the customers. And an easier checkout equaled a better in-store experience by 35%. Now you look at the numbers, Hassan, they're staggering. 35, 37, 40%. I mean, that kind of numbers are saying that they need experiences to be seamless. They need to be easier to work with. Online and offline need to merge seamlessly.
And that's a key word, what you mentioned out there, the online, offline, or what we call the phygital experience. That's key because a customer can be starting their journey offline and then continue it online and then go back to offline or vice versa. And you need to ensure that those journeys are connected together rather than somebody having to restart the journey from scratch.
And we've termed this excite, explore, engage, the 3 E's of experience. And I have a small video that takes you through the journey of a modern young woman called Angel. And she's going shopping because she's going to go out with Sam, her partner, on the weekend. And this journey shows her experience in a store developed by InSync and how the whole element of touch, feel, smell, and then using a digital platform to check out how all of this comes together. And just before we run into the video, I want another small part of this experience. Today, retail does not take into consider smell as a very huge factor into the retail experience. Some do, but not all. In at Retail Design Expo in UK in 2016, Kate Nightingale spoke about the case study of anthropology and how they took their sales up by 40%. I'll repeat that, 40% by just adding a fragrance called Rose Maruk in the men's segment and vanilla for the women's segment. And the moment they swapped these two, the sales dropped below base. And the moment they removed the fragrances, the sales came back to base level, showing that only the infusion of smell was able to influence sale at that level. And this video will show you how we've added even smell to the 3E experience, and that also within the rack. Now, we as product designers, we design solutions, shop fitting solutions, which are electrified, which plug in lighting to ensure that you get complete lighting on the product, ensuring that every merchandise is in perfect lighting. We include smell to give you that olfactory experience, which is one of the best connections that you can have with the brand. Using digital technology to explain or inspire a product to buy, a consumer to buy a product, and using digital technology like a scan and go solution for a self-checkout experience. I think this video with Angel and her run
Let's
through
look at the video to get a good understanding. But I will add one more thing. You're absolutely correct on the smell. There used to be an e-commerce company in the UAE called Jado Pado. I don't know if any of you remember it. It was a very successful e-commerce company, which they sold out the company, and I used to buy from Jado Pado just to be able to get the scent inside the bag when they deliver their products. It had an amazing scent, and it attracted me a lot. So let me share the video which you were talking about. I'm sure everyone is eager to watch it. So let me put it on the screen. Can you all see my screen?
You can?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Huzaifa. This was really interesting to get to see the experiences in the retail spaces. I want to move back to Rami. The healthcare industry is I believe, is being disrupted exactly like the automotive industry. Especially during COVID, I can tell you so many times I got emails from our HR in the company or admin telling us if you want to do any psychological sessions with any of the doctors online, we are providing this to you. If you have any health concern, you can schedule a video call with this doctor and that doctor. This has changed. Usually you go to a doctor, you sit face to face with the doctor. With the pandemic, things changed completely. I've done various calls with doctors over a video call where I was able to manage my health or any of my family's health due to the COVID. So, Rami, the healthcare landscape has become extremely competitive. Let's be very honest, the number of hospitals or clinics or pharmacies in the region has grown a lot. How do you utilize technology to really stand out from others, especially with the entrance of, be it metaverse, augmented realities, virtual realities, so on and so forth?
Yeah, so I go back to the whole idea of offering, to differentiate yourself from your competitors. It's all about offering a great customer experience. For us at Saudi German Health, we used to be Saudi German Hospitals Group, but we rebranded recently to Saudi German Health because we're more holistic as an organization. We're not just a hospital that just offers you hospital care. We also offer, we have an academy, pharmacies, clinics to make more of a holistic approach, which is part of offering a better customer experience so that you don't have to keep going to different centers and different places from a customer experience perspective. In addition to that, as you mentioned, the use of technology can really help differentiate you and improve your customer experience. So you mentioned a part of the way technology can be used, which is telehealth, or at least video consultations. I'm assuming that's the extent of it. Video consultations are just a small bit of the whole telemedicine spectrum. The world is progressing in a way that, from a technological perspective, that in the medicine world, that one day we're going to be able to truly be able to sit from the comfort of our homes and be monitored and have these monitoring devices send back information to our doctor. Our doctor is going to be able to keep us monitored, to give us feedback in real time, and be able to prescribe us medication, have them delivered to you, all of that from the comfort of your home. These elements exist today in bits and pieces, but what I think everyone's racing towards in the healthcare industry is ensuring that they put that all together to offer a fully comprehensive experience using technology to offer best-in-class customer experience, again, allowing you to differentiate yourself from customers. We're putting together a lot of these things. They obviously take time. COVID was a catalyst, so at least the video consultations part, was something that we activated from our end, virtually overnight. We've been discussing this for so long, but now, when the time came for it, we were able to do it overnight. So now it's been a catalyst, and for us, technology is our number one priority to be able to introduce excellence in customer service. The other thing we did as well was when we rebranded, we introduced the concept of caring like family. Caring like family means that every patient who walks through our doors or every staff member needs to be actually treated not like a customer or give them exceptional, not just, give them exceptional treatment as a customer, but the way you would treat a family member of your own, a brother, a sibling, a sister, a parent. So we've introduced that idea to emphasize the importance of customer experience. So it's sort of next level customer experience, which is family experience, treating people like your family.
Rami, I have a question to you. As somebody who, when dealing with hospitals or clinics, utilizes a lot, for instance, WhatsApp as a mean of communication with those. And in addition to this, after I do any test, I go to the app of the hospital to be able to see the results and all of that. Are those two means of communications areas of exploration for your organization?
Absolutely. So we know the importance of WhatsApp in this region, particularly in Saudi Arabia, where business is conducted through WhatsApp, right? Over email in a lot of instances. So we are looking into how we can utilize WhatsApp, for not just from a chatbot perspective, but we actually do utilize already, as it is today, WhatsApp to communicate with a call center for bookings, etc. Plus, we do have an app existing, which is also getting completely revamped, that will allow you access to all your medical records, to your recent visits, to your history, to all of that, so that you can be empowered as a patient to not have to rely on only when you are in the hospital to have access to these really important bits of information about your life, about you, which used to be the case if you're thinking even 5-6 years ago. The only way you could get any information about your by yourself was visiting the hospital directly, maybe through emails. But now you should have it on the go, and this is where we're looking at, as you said, mobile apps to enable that.
And Rami, pardon me for asking so many questions about this,
No,
because the healthcare industry is absolutely fascinating in terms of how it's being disrupted. And I always look at what, healthcare organizations such as Mayo Clinic or Cleveland Clinic, what they do abroad, not even in the region. And when we talk about digital transformation or technologies or customer experience, you see there are many ways to tackle this. It could be to the end consumer from when they're engaging with the organization, or it could be from a doctor perspective with a customer, especially when conducting operations. For instance, the spectacles of Snapchat was used a couple of years ago in order to be able to connect two doctors, each one in a different country, where they can help each other while an operation is happening. Are those areas being explored in your organization into taking healthcare to the next level?
Oh yeah, so it has to be technology that is right? Because sometimes some of these things can be a bit gimmicky. The technology, maybe some of this can, some of the augmented reality concepts and ideas, initially they make for great marketing, and you publish them and everybody says, wow, this hospital is using that. But in reality, medically, they have no clinical use. But some of the areas that we're definitely already implemented. So we were the first private healthcare group in Saudi Arabia to introduce robotic surgery for knee and hip replacement. So the technology of robotics is phenomenal. It allows for very precise surgeries, for quicker recovery times, as well as for less of a need of revision. One of the issues is sometimes you need revisions over time, because the work that a surgeon did needs to be sort of redone. Whereas with this, it's so precise that it allows for better precision, and it's minimally invasive. I've myself attended a robotic surgery. It's incredible. Doctors on one end, patients on the other end, and it's doctors being, patients being sort of operated on. So it's incredible. So we're definitely, it's this kind of technology, the type of technology that has impact and meaning is what we're looking for, not just the type of technology that offers good marketing.
I love you mentioning this, especially on the gimmick side, because I see many organizations jumping into solutions which they just jump on it for the sake of making a buzz around it, but it doesn't really add value to the customer at the end of the day. So I like the fact that you are taking the consideration from a customer point of view, rather than just for the sake of creating a buzzword around it or a press release. So I like that a lot, Rami. We are getting short on time, so Huzaifa, I'm gonna have the last question with you, but we need to be short in the response. Shop Fittings is a B2B brand. Again, I don't like the term B2B because I consider it as an H2H, but again, it's a B2B brand. So why did you decide to start the experience centers in various countries? I'm very eager to know about that.
So, Hassan, experience being the key word. Now, unlike most of our competitors who are reactive in the sense, a designer would go and give a design and then they would build on the design. We are proactive in our design as well as research driven. So, how do we showcase what we've created was a very big question when we were envisaging the brand in sync. And that's why the term experience center and the entire business model around experience centers came about. What we tried to do is, and this is aligned to our mission statement of empowering the future of retail. What we're trying to essentially do is be able to reach out to those who cannot imagine retail or reimagine their role in retail. We're working with even small to medium enterprises who have between 1 store and 5 stores. And we're doing rollouts where we are actually dispatching a store a day and doing 200 and 300 stores a year. Now, for all of these guys, their needs are different. A single store owner, when he comes to us, does not have an army of consultants consulting them. And we're able to take all our experience and help them build a store. To the extent that we even tied up with designers who present their design in AR at our experience center. They're able to come and see, or a retail designer is able to come and see, touch, feel the product, play around with it, see how the light works, talk to the AI bot, lift up a shoe and get the lift and learn experience. And these things all need to be experienced. They cannot be spoken about, or they cannot be imagined. So for us to reimagine the way we were going to do or position our brand in sync, we had to reimagine the way we connected with the customer, the experience that we provided the customer. So today, from only having physical stores, we are moving into AR-based presentations where we would be presenting an entire concept for a customer in AR if they work with us to design that concept. So we're trying to bridge the phygital gap in that sense now. And yeah, the experience center has really helped us showcase our phygital technology and its utility, showcase how our lighting solution actually provides shadow-free illumination, and showcase how we're able to save them cost of construction and save them operations cost of electricity by using efficient lighting within our racks. So all of these
We're
things.
seeing we're seeing many organizations moving into developing their own digital center of excellences, because this is the only way for them to be able to envision. And if we take a look at the real estate industry, the automotive industry, they're relying a lot on AR prior to developing the final product to be able to envision how it is. Huzaifa, very interesting, but we are almost approaching the end of our session. However, if you allow me, please, I would like 30 seconds, not more, please. What would be one recommendation that you would give to organizations, to CX specialists out there? I would like to have a recommendation from your end and from Rami, but let's just limit it to 30 seconds, please, per panelist. Over to you, Huzaifa.
So I think the one thing that we should look at is don't discount the future. Today in Dubai, when we're here, we know how the Dubai government has always looked at 50 years in the future. As a retail brand, you can't do anything different. If you want to survive the decade, you need to think 2 decades and start investing into that today for experience. Experience doesn't come overnight.
I love this a lot. That's a brilliant recommendation. Rami?
So I'll take it back to the title of this panel discussion about reimagining. My recommendation is to reimagine your entire process, to look at your role in the process as a marketer, and to really include customer experience in this reimagined world, focusing heavily on making sure that the customer gets the best possible experience that they could possibly get from your brand.
I like that a lot. So I will endorse 100% what Huzaifa and Rami mentioned, and I will add to that empathy and compassion from organizations is extremely key to be able to really keep the connection going with their customers, to retain that loyalty from their customers, and to remain competitive in the future. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your contribution. It has been really valuable, invaluable. Bharti, I hand over back to you.
Thank you so much, Hussein. We have questions as well. If we have time to answer them, can we please pick the questions? On your left, you will see the option of Q&A. So I guess one of the questions is already answered. There's one more question which is left. Are the brick and mortar store experience actually replaceable in reality? That's the question.
Josefa, I would like you to answer that. I will give my comment on it, but I would like you to give because this is your area of specialty. I will talk about it from an automotive perspective after you contribute.
So I personally believe very, very strongly that brick and mortar cannot go out. Now, I'll give you an example. When you had DVDs come in, when you had things like Netflix come in, people said that the theater would go out of fashion. Just go look at the theater industry today. The cinema halls today, they're booming better than ever because they were able to pivot. They were able to reimagine their role and become experiential. Retailers today have become experiential, and they are becoming experiential. And if brick and mortar continues to become edutainment related, they cannot go out of style. And you're always going to need the human experience. You're always going to need the touch and feel of the product, and the love of your peers when they see it. The look on your wife's or your partner's face when you walk out wearing a dress or a blazer, that is irreplaceable, and that makes brick and mortar irreplaceable.
I agree 100% with you. And I always get asked, with things in the automotive industry moving towards digital and e-commerce, will showrooms vanish from existing? My answer to them is the showroom will always be there. It's just the format of the showroom. And this is a personal opinion, not necessarily coming from my employer. I believe that the format of the showroom will change. And what I mean to say about that is those big showrooms that you used to see in the past, they're no longer needed. What will happen is the showroom will follow where the customer is rather than have the big showrooms and wait for the customer to come to them. What does that mean? You're at the beach, you will have pop-up stores over there. You're inside the mall, you will have stores inside the mall. And this is the way I envision really the showroom of the future to be. It's no longer about how big it is or where it's located, as long as it does not disrupt the journey of the customer, but it's rather part of the journey of the customer.
Thank you so much, Hussein, and thank you so much, Josefa. We have a lot of questions, but we can quickly take one more question. This is: customer loyalty is to be retained at any cost. How will it be applicable in all forms of businesses, even the conventional ones?
I'd like Rami to answer that question, because from a healthcare perspective, customer loyalty is extremely key, especially due to the competition that is taking place out there.
Yeah, so definitely there are different ways. We're actually working on something. I can't speak about it yet until it's launched. But there are different ways that you can ensure customer loyalty. Obviously, good customer experience plays a big role. But also, in healthcare, for example, the doctor that you're used to will play a big role in ensuring that loyalty, right? Because if you've been going to the same doctor for 5 years. And where do doctors shine above others is communication. So one of the things that is important is facilitating communication between patient and doctor. And sometimes, like I said, that if it's only happening within the context of the hospital, that's going to be a challenge for these patients who then leave and have more questions. So for me, the enhancing that customer experience, and you mentioned this, Hussein, earlier, is a doctor-to-patient interaction, and ensuring that there is a good communication or capability to have communication between the patient and the patient and the doctor. So it's not necessarily always, that it's all about this big flashy technology. Sometimes it's just about changing certain processes, even in traditional industries like healthcare. It's just about changing one or two processes that allows the customer to have more access to the things that they need to have access to, like in our case, the doctor.
Absolutely. And I would add to what Rami mentioned is I think the key winning factor for loyalty in the future is going to be personalization. So it's going to be about what kind of data an organization is capturing, and how do they create personas out of those data, and how do they create the means of communication and the experiences. So
Yeah,
CRM.
actually, I forgot to mention that part. So one of the ways so personalization is actually, that is definitely one of the most important ways to keep someone loyal. One of the things we're working on is this CRM tool. So I think a very strong CRM tool enables customization, so that whenever you receive someone in your physical premise or your mobile app or whatever, or if they call your call center or wherever it is, the person interacting with them already knows everything about this person. Even, if they had a previous complaint, to say, oh, I remember your previous complaint. By the way, we've solved that issue for you. You'll be pleased to know that X, Y, Z has happened because of, something you reported a month ago. That is an amazing way to personalize and to create a great customer experience.
Absolutely.